Welcome to your Joyful Life Podcast, episode 19. Today we're talking about the 3 principles that change everything.
All right, we're back. Welcome to your Joyful Life Podcast. This is going to be episode 19. And I'm here with my friend Evan.
Hello.
My colleague, and I'm Mike. And I think Evan has a question to get us started.
Not so much a question. I wanted to talk about, you gave me a book to read.
I did.
Which I read.
You did?
In one morning, because it's a pretty short book.
It is a short book.
I appreciate in a book.
Should we tell them what the book is?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's The Inside Out Revolution by Mr. Michael Neill.
Yeah. We mentioned Michael Neill a bunch of episodes ago. I encountered him in a workshop I was doing, and he's the one who introduced me to the idea of I don't know being a complete answer, which had a strong impact on me.
Yeah.
So The Inside Out Revolution, he comes from the 3P community, which you've mentioned before. Mm-hmm. You quote Sydney Banks a lot, who's sort of the founder of that. 3P stands for 3 principles. Mm-hmm. And the Inside Out Revolution is sort of an introduction to the 3 principles. Yeah. And we've talked about those a lot. I think since we first started talking to each other, you've mentioned the 3 principles on and off. I never understood what they were, and I Googled them sometimes because I wanted to feel smarter when I was talking to you, and I read them, and I thought, this just sounds like words, not principles. Nothing about it ever sort of anchored itself in my head. And then I read the book, and this is not to discredit your way of explaining it, but Michael Neill's in the book, maybe I just had to read it, but it finally sort of sunk in, like, oh, now I understand what these guys are talking about.
Yeah, he does a good job. There's no doubt.
So maybe just can you tell people what the 3 principles are? Sure,
yeah. So the 3P, I guess we'll do a quick little bit of history. Guy named Sid Banks, in and around 1973, has an enlightenment experience he's on Salt Spring. Is he on Salt Spring? Can't remember if he's on Salt Spring. Anyway, he's out west, Canada. And he is attending a conference. The way the story goes is he's talking to someone on a walk, and he says to the person, I'm so insecure. The person responds with, you're not insecure, you just think you are. So that launches Sid into 4 days and 4 nights and blinding light and no sleep and, the realization of whatever it was that he realized. So the 3 principles come out of the understanding that we live in a world of thought. And I don't think this is new. It doesn't seem to be new. No. But the way that Sid articulated this seems to be a little bit unique. So as the story goes, he's at a conference, attending a conference where there's another speaker. And there's the recognition that this speaker has principles. And someone says, hey, Sid, you got to have principles. So the principles are mind, consciousness, and thought. And you can capitalize them or lowercase them. And so the principle of mind is the connection, speaks to the connection that we have to a wisdom that is greater than us. You could call it the wisdom of the universe or the wisdom of life. Pick whatever works for you. But mind, capital M, mind, speaks to that which makes everything alive. And the wisdom inherent in that.
Yeah. So what Michael Neill mentions in his book, things like the sort of the intelligence that makes an acorn turn into an oak tree and not a maple.
The body heal
itself. How a cut heals itself. Yeah. So there are, whether you want to call that like conscious intelligence or just some kind of like the universe works in a certain way that all agrees with itself. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And good mention. Cats birth kittens. They don't birth dogs. And
Yeah.
so I don't know if that's a hierarchy or it's just a way that things work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
there is some kind of order to the universe.
yeah, some kind of an intelligence to it. Yeah. So that's mind. Consciousness can be seen, I think, in a couple of different ways. Chief among them is we're conscious, there is an awareness that we have. We're alive. We're aware, and also that our experience plays out in our own personal consciousness. So we're alive. We're aware. And within that awareness, our experience comes to life within our consciousness.
Yeah, well said.
And then the principle of thought, which is the creative power, that is what we use or have available to us to create our experience. I guess that's probably the simplest way of articulating that. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, I think so.
So with the articulation out of the way, what struck me about it when I first came across the principles, and that was in 2015, was literally, oh shit, I've been making it all up. So what I saw when I came across the principles was, wow, that I have both complete agency in every experience that I experience, and that it's not all coming from me, but it is all coming from me because it's my thoughts. But it's not actually my thinking because they're not my thinking. They just play out in my consciousness.
Right. Yes.
Right. So what struck me, I was listening to a Sid tape back in the day, and oh shit, I've been making it all up. So I've talked about this before. Victimhood dropped away. So in a strange way, coming to see these things and the way that they interact with one another both was incredibly liberating, so freeing, but also gave me full and absolute ownership of everything that I experience, while at the same time acknowledging that it's not really coming from me.
Say more about that.
Well, I think it's sort of what I'm seeing now, the sort of 10 years away from my initial experience with it, is that there's really very little for me to do.
Okay.
I can try to do a whole bunch of stuff, and I think Michael Neill would agree with me. It's really our ability to connect, to not disconnect ourselves from the intelligence behind all things, that is what moves us.
Is it fair to say that that thought is what gets in the way of our consciousness sort of accessing or being in tune with that mind that we're talking about?
Yeah. And it's not, so we to be a little bit careful there. It's not that thought gets in the way. It's that thought arising in consciousness and given the meaning of being real and needs to be dealt with, that gets in the way. Thought itself isn't the problem. It's just the first grain, if you will, of what may or may not become experience for you.
Okay.
Right? So if I have the thought, I'm not worthy, and I give that thought attention, then all of a sudden, 40 years later, I can be living from this thought that I had some time ago that said, you're not worthy. And so the problem is not thought. The problem is thought believed.
Okay. It sort of is attaching yourself to the thought, or
exactly.
feeding it, or
giving it meaning, right?
Giving it meaning, right?
Rather than thought just kind of happens. We just have thoughts. They appear. Where do they come from? Well, I don't know. Do they come from our brains? I mean, some would say yes, right? They come from the collective experience of our lifetimes, and just seem to get thrown in. Well, I don't see any rhyme or reason to when they appear.
Yeah, it's
they just
interesting.
kind of happen. Like, oh,
yeah. When you think about people, I was reading Stephen Pressfield's War of Art.
Oh, I've heard. I have a writer.
Interesting book. He talks about, as a writer, sort of getting in touch with the muses.
Right. Yeah.
And he says you can't sort of wait for inspiration. You have to like sit down and work every day, and if you commit to just writing every day, the muses will sort of show up. But he says when that happens, it's not really coming from you. It's coming through you. And there are musicians who talk about that too.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times when you have like a good idea, like, oh, that's a great idea.
Sid would call that an insight. I think,
Yeah, like
right?
you don't think your way to it. And often the insight comes when you stop thinking. If you're trying to solve something, you're like, oh, I'll just write it down. Last week we were talking about planning. You know, I'll write the perfect plan.
Good luck.
To try and figure something out or whatever. It's often when you stop doing that the thing comes. So yeah, whether it's coming from what Sid calls mind, you know, the divine mind or the mind or whatever, insight,
universal
intuition,
intelligence or
something,
whatever. Yeah.
It does feel like they're not really coming from us; they're coming from somewhere to us.
Yeah, we're the space in which thought occurs.
Right, and
I think Eckhart Tolle would probably describe it that way.
Yeah, and we talked about the if you're not sure about this, if you think you're the conscious creator of your thoughts, that exercise we've done where just like close your eyes and then think of any 3 movies, just random movies. And you'll think of 3. Now close your eyes and do it again. Do it 3 times. At some point, a movie will pop up that will be very surprising to you. You're like, why did I think about...
Well, I just did that, and The Matrix, Star Wars, and then Mad Max came up.
Right. Yeah, when was the last time you thought about Mad Max? Yeah.
Yeah, like, interesting.
Yeah, for me, it's always Air Bud 2. So yeah, it points to something amazing. The other one you can do is like close your eyes and think about nothing and then notice the first thought that comes up. And like, you may have to do it a couple times. You know, the first couple you'll tell a story about like, oh, my first thought was, am I thinking about nothing? My second thought was the thing I have to do right now. But at some point it'll be, I did it with my son once and it was the middle of winter and we tried it. And he was like, Frisbee. Like there was no reason, you know, we were 6 months away on both sides from Frisbee, anything. And it popped into his head. So doing that simple exercise points to like, yeah, things just pop into our heads. We don't own them. We don't control them. We don't guide them. Like it's just things happening. And
we have a choice when they pop up, how we relate to them. That's where the agency comes in.
Yeah.
Right. We can, like, things pop in. I mean, I used to have this recurring thought. I may have shared this with you. I think I have. I'd be driving and I'd be like driving along and I'm like, okay, I wonder what would happen if I just like took out all those people at the bus stop.
Right.
Where's that coming from? I don't think I'm psychotic or anything like that or a sociopath. I passed the are you a sociopath test.
Oh,
so, you know, hooray for me.
I refuse to take it just in case.
To be safe. Yeah. Yeah. But it's like, so we have these thoughts arise. Like if we can, like, it's thought believed that's problematic. It's our personal thinking, making meaning of our personal thinking that becomes problematic, that gums up the works, as it will. Because the nature of thought seems to be transience. It comes and it goes, comes and it goes. And all we can do is stop it from coming and going. And if we stop it, when we stop it from coming and going, you know, if I have the thought, I'm not worthy, and then I stop at that thought and I try to make sense of it, I try to give it meaning, what tends to happen is now I'm, you know, Dominic might say you're now stuck on a frequency. And when you're on that frequency, you get more of that frequency.
Yep. So
the trick with thought seems to be, okay, there it is. Notice it, and then of course Sid's famous thing is follow the feeling. So I have a thought, it doesn't feel good. What does that mean? That's your sign. That's your guidance. That the thought that you're entertaining, that you've sort of stopped on its way in and out, is not serving you.
Yeah.
So the way that you feel as you are thinking gives you an indicator as to not even the quality of the thought itself, but the quality of the meaning you're making of thought.
Right. Nobody has, when you have one of those like, oh, like those insight experiences, those never feel bad.
No.
Like, oh, I should abandon my family. Like, no, like it doesn't work like that. Like that moment of insight always feels incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it that way before, that sort of how the feelings point you towards more of that. They are helping, they are aligning you to that. The more you get in tune with,
they're aligning
sort
you
of the
with
possibility of that.
They have the ability to align you, monitoring, keeping your pulse on your finger on the feeling, it lets you know whether, it gets clumsy, whether you're aligned with the truest expression of yourself or not. Like, when you're closer to that which wants to come through you, that typically feels good. When you're farther away from that, when you resist that which wants to come through you, it doesn't feel good.
So would you say that so like all day, every day, thoughts are popping in, and some of them are sort of nudging you one way and some are nudging you the other way, and some of them are nudging you closer to that alignment that you're talking about?
Yeah, I don't know if nudging is the right word, but yeah, they come with different textures, I guess, right?
Yeah. Sorry, not nudging in like pushing, but nudging in a more of like an opportunistic sense. Like there are different possibilities that pop up, and by following the ones that feel good, you will orient yourself towards a greater possibility, or that good place of being from or with or whatever.
They clarify your alignment.
Yes, right. Well said.
Like if it doesn't feel good, then there's no alignment there. You can just totally dismiss that. If it feels good, likely it's because it is aligned with something that is already existing within you, right? I think about that in terms of something that wants to express itself through you, right? Universal intelligence, when it wants to, it is always wanting to come through us. Not to personify this, right? But that which wants to express through you typically feels pretty good.
Yeah.
What you're drawn towards, what pulls you, right? It's 10 years in, I still have a hard time sort of articulating the mechanism around it. But, I think one of the analogies is that of a projector. Right, you plug a projector into a wall. Well, the wall is universal intelligence, or the plug is universal intelligence.
Okay.
The screen is consciousness, right? That upon which it's projected. The film is thought, right? So you can run a film through it. It's a horror movie, that seems real. You run a romantic comedy through it, that seems real.
Right.
You run an adventure movie through, that feels real. So universal intelligence as the creative power behind all things, thought running through, and then, and I was going to say thought stopped, but that's not really right. Like thought is the film, right? It's that which is made real via our attention to it, and that plays out in our consciousness, in our personalized experience, right? So any thought that we hold becomes that which feels real to us.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And
you reinforce the thought. We talked this, but then you look for examples of it in the real world. Then you find the examples.
And you find them, yeah.
Then you get to be right, and then
exactly,
like, that's the way it is.
Yeah. And I think that one of the keys is to see the transient nature of it. If you just let it go, like, we are not our thinking. I mean, what I heard was, oh man, I've been making it all up. I'm not my thinking. I mean, how many people do you know that believe they are the thinking? That who they are as a person is synonymous with how they think, what they think. Like, everyone confuses that.
Yeah, it always you meet people and you're like, more when you're younger, but like I'm the kind of person who this is who I am. Said very forcefully with no room for debate.
And often it's, well, that's just how it is, or just who I am. Right?
Yeah.
It's, well, no, that is a thought held in a moment in time, believed playing out in consciousness, and it probably doesn't feel good.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So, but instead of recognizing the relationship between the feeling and the thought being held in a moment of time playing out in consciousness, we give it meaning, and now we've got to fix it. So we think that the thought leads to a feeling which informs us about us. And then, of course, our big brains kick in and want to fix that.
Right.
More problems. Right? So this idea, this interplay of, of universal intelligence with the creative power of thought, which is not ours, but it's maybe ours to wield, ours to direct in a way, maybe. And all of that playing out in consciousness in a way that it seems real in our experience. It's this like, wow. So anything that I think feels real and it's not, how cool is that? Right? Like how cool is it that you can have, the thought, well, I wonder what would happen if I ran my car into all those people over there and not have to do anything about it.
Sure.
Like most people would, that thought, we would notice the absurdity and the transience of that instantly. Well, I'm not doing that. That's just ridiculous. We don't question it. But if it's a thought like, oh, I'm not good enough, whoa, that gets a lot of attention.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or my kid never cleans up after himself.
Or whatever it is. Right. Those get a lot of attention, but the really ridiculous ones that we all have from time to time, so there's this ability to differentiate between thought that serves, thought that doesn't. And I guess there is a bit of a lack of ability to see that none of them are real.
That's a great thing to point to. And sometimes, like the absurd ones, usually we discount those as outliers.
Absolutely.
But they're actually pointing to evidence. Like they are the inliers, right? They are right. All thought. They're pointing. It's not that those thoughts are absurd and the other ones are normal. It's that they are all equally.
They don't mean anything
They
until
don't mean
we
anything
give
yet.
them meaning.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's no thought means anything
Yeah.
until we give it meaning, and the GPS to distinguish, like I said earlier, but the value or meaning we're giving thought is how it feels.
How it feels. Yeah.
Right. It's not, when I feel shitty, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. It means that I'm holding thinking that doesn't serve me. That isn't coming from a place of alignment, not coming from a place of how I want to be. Right. So it's that. The way that I've come to see the principles is just this massively amazing interplay of all that is filtering through or filtering into my consciousness through thinking that I'm holding in a moment.
Right. And the thinking being sort of a feedback mechanism.
Well, the feeling is the feedback
mechanism. Sorry,
The thought is like an infinite number of, I think Sid describes it at one point about like an infinite palette,
right?
Like an infinite number of colors that you can create from, right? Well, infinite, you ever count thoughts, right? I think the number is like 80 to 120,000 per day. Most of them we're not even aware of. And when I'm not saying that people should or need to, but for me, as I've seen this more deeply, I mean, most of the thoughts that I have, I'm not aware of. Like, what the hell? How many am I aware of? Like 4? Like, whatever it is. I don't know how many thoughts I'm aware of. But the fact that I've seen in my own experience that it's what I'm holding in my thinking consciously, like directly or indirectly, consciously or subconsciously, is what's causing my feeling state.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. Right. It's not Evan. It's not my wife. It's not my bank account. It's like there are times when I got $100 in my bank account. Hey, awesome! I'm fucking rich. Oh, I could have $10,000 in my bank account, and it's a freaking crisis.
Yeah.
So I guess what the three principles have really solidified for me is that our experience is an inside out job. It is not coming externally. So the subplot to my oh shit, I've been making it all up, is that there's no more victimhood.
Yeah.
I'm not a victim anymore. I create shit for myself sometimes because I attach belief to thought, or I give meaning to thoughts that don't serve me. And even when I do that, I know it's me.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes I look at my wife and I know damn well that she's the problem.
Right.
And I also know that, she's not.
Yeah.
So there's it's it's a hard go, right? When you watch people bent out of shape because a government in this part of the world is not doing what, really? So that's being imposed on you. Your feeling state is being imposed. And caveat here, we live in a full contact world,
Yeah.
right? Emotions happen. And I think there's a distinction between emotions and feelings. We've talked about that a little bit. I still believe that,
I was, as an aside, I was skeptical, not skeptical. I didn't get the distinction. And then I read in Sue Morter's book that I'm reading, The Energy Codes.
Right.
I think what she says is feelings are literally things that you feel in your body, and emotions are thought related.
I would have that the opposite.
Okay.
But that's okay.
I think she was going like, you feel like physically feel,
Right.
feeling, body, tactile.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Anyway, so maybe, whatever.
Well,
Let's keep going.
maybe the point is just that there is a distinction between emotion and feeling, and I've sort of seen it as emotion is the raw aspect of what happens. I get hit by a car. There's an emotion. My father passes away. There's an emotion attached to that. And the way that I've come to see it is that feeling is what happens when emotion gets mixed with thought.
Okay. I think she agrees, but is using the opposite definition.
Yeah. So, which again is there's this incredible liberation. I mean, I spent all of my life up until, having had some other experiences, but this was really like, oh shit, I'm in charge, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Like it's feelings are not imposed on me. I get hit by a car. Okay, great.
Yes, you've now been hit.
I stubbed my toe.
You've now been hit by a car. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What I make of that, like that life is a contact sport. That contact lasts for a split second, and then everything that occurs after that is made up. You're making it up.
Yeah.
I think it's not happening anymore.
Yeah. And I think there are situations like if you're, I don't know, in a bad relationship or you have a bad job at work, it doesn't feel like a moment thing because our brain is a storytelling machine and it'll craft, it's not a moment. It's been the last 6 years that my boss has been whatever. But that's one of the interesting things that meditation helps you see. It's like it is only slices of moments.
Yeah.
And every next moment is a moment to sort of recreate everything.
Or the opportunity for a fresh start, right?
Yeah, well, that's what the recreation is I don't have to recreate
that
in the same way that I've been recreating it just because I've been doing that. I have the freedom to choose something completely different.
Well, and Sid, or in the 3P community, we might say that, or Sid would say, innate mental health, which is a whole nother aspect of the 3P conversation, is only one thought away.
Yeah.
I mean, watch a kid go from crying to not crying, or watch yourself going from angry to not angry. It happens just like that.
It's amazing how kids do it. How did you just put that down and walk away from it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still upset on your behalf. Yeah.
That's right. Why aren't you upset 4 months later?
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So then this idea of innate mental health, that when we are in the awareness of our attachment to universal intelligence, which as long as you're alive and arguably after you're gone, that connection stays. But, when you're connected to universal intelligence, when you're aware of thought and the role it plays as a device by which we color our experience, it leaves you feeling pretty good most of the time.
Yeah. One of the things that really resonated from reading the book was the complete simplicity of it. We've talked before, me, like
it may not sound that simple, but
it really is like, it's just pointing to one thing to notice once.
Yeah.
And there's, the book says at the beginning, like there's no techniques, there's no like effort to get there.
Yeah.
we talked last week. I'm still sort of convinced that there is something to do to like orient yourself in a certain way.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah,
it's not a forcing, but there is
yeah.
there are thousands of years of ideas about how you can get there faster.
I've always been curious. Sorry, hold that
Yeah.
thought. I've always been curious about that, right? How do we know that the 50 years of meditation actually led to the insight?
I think that's one of the problems with teachers is that every teacher
Yeah.
gets to that point and then has to tell a backstory
That's
of how they got there and then turn
Right.
that into a recipe
Right. Yeah.
for
Exactly.
everyone else. And
Exactly.
that's sort of what I was saying last time was the more I do this, the more I pay attention to this,
Yeah.
the less I trust other people's stories and
Yeah.
the more I trust my own.
Well, and Sid would probably take that one step further and say it's not even trusting your own; it's trusting universal intelligence.
Sure. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. What I meant was my own
Yeah.
story as it comes through
Yeah.
that. So I'm not trying to create a story that's more right than someone else. I'm listening in my own unique way because I'm a unique person the same way we all are.
Yeah.
And we sort of have to all find our own ways to this. And the simpler the simpler the concept is, that's like that every time I learn a new thing, it gets easier and simpler than the one before. And nothing
You're unlearning.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, like I said, Michael Neill's book was very thin. There's not a lot to it.
But there is.
And I mean, you could, on the flip side, to play devil's advocate, like I didn't have that, oh my God, I'm making it all up moment from reading the book. So
Yeah.
there's still something to either do or wait to happen or something. But the simplicity of it is, and we all get to it a different way. I have been getting to it gradually and in pieces, but I have noticed an increase in frequency that those things happen. Like, where I will notice a thought and then immediately remember, that one, I don't really think about it in terms of feels good, doesn't, but that isn't going to go anywhere good if I follow it.
Right.
So I'll just put it down and then it's gone. So it's cool not to need to explain anything more about that.
Yeah, I think I'll articulate it like this. The principles, as I understand them, is just a description of how it works.
Well, that's the reason I use the word principles, and what Michael Neill says, it's first principles thinking. And first principles is just like whatever the story is, whatever, if you're in a company that's trying to do something, or if you have a project, like first principles is like just rip out everything and start at the very beginning. What is true about this thing? So yeah, that's all he's talking about. He's like, what is, and I think he says, I don't know if it was Sid or Michael Neill who said this, but like these three principles are true for everyone. There's no condition to them. There's no I'm different.
They're just this is how experience is created.
Yeah, this is the origins, not the origin story, but like this is the foundational organizing principle of everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can just, my takeaway was like, if you can just sort of grok that, if you can just see it, that's the entire project. That's everything else comes from that.
It seems to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if I know that my experience is being created internally, so inside out, and I know that your experience is being created internally from the inside out, it leaves a lot of room for like, oh, that's okay. He's acting that way, or she's acting that way, or this is behaving. There's a lot of okayness that comes from, we're all connected to universal intelligence. Okay, so a tree is alive. So universal intelligence is kind of like the animating force behind everything.
Yep.
It's fairly easy to agree that, I'm not a cat, and yet the cat is alive, and whatever makes the cat alive is what makes me alive. That's not rocket science, right?
Yep.
So we've got that in common, right? We all think, people think. Dogs think in the way that dogs think. They come with whatever level of thought. The dog's dog, human's human. Part of what humans do is the way that we create. Doesn't matter. We're pointing to a commonality that all people have. And when that commonality gets revealed, you stop pointing fingers as much. And I hate to say this, and I, it's easy to try to find exceptions. So we're in Canada, which is north of the U.S., and right now in the U.S., there is an individual who's in charge that many would say is catastrophic. And that person is also functioning the same way that Evan and I up north in Canada are functioning. He's creating, or they are creating their reality the same way that we're doing it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's lent itself to an awful lot of compassion.
I was going to say
across the board.
Yeah.
Right. So this person down south is having thoughts the same way that I have thoughts, and they're giving meaning and making meaning of the thoughts that they're having in a different way than I am. I don't have to agree with the thoughts that that person is making manifest, but the system is working the same way.
Yeah. And I think what you can, or at least what's been helpful for me, is when you look at people like that,
Yeah.
it is very obvious that they are following feelings that don't make them feel good, right? These are not happy, self-satisfied, loving
exactly.
people. They are following, and I think it's in sort of
we
innocence
could
and desperation. I think they are trying to feel better.
Yes.
And there's a sort of desperate grasping for like, oh, if I can just control all these things or whatever, whatever it is, then I will.
I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's an I got to do it. I can do it. And again, I think the agency part that gets missed is I don't have to follow that thinking.
Yeah.
Right. I don't. That doesn't really starting a war. That doesn't feel so good.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't have to do that. Maybe I don't. Maybe that's too big an example, but we've talked about this in the past in other podcasts, personal experiences with relationships where it's like, well, I don't have to have that thought. Not that I don't have to have that thought. We can't. And this bears saying we have zero control over what shows up in our thinking.
Right. That's the movie's example, right? Yeah. You didn't know Mad Max was going to show up.
Yeah. Like no idea.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that, again, for me, man, that connection to, just because I think it doesn't mean it means anything about me was like, wow. Because prior to that, I was very much living in a world where I have to organize it and create it so that I can feel good in it.
Yeah.
And now I can feel good in it. Doesn't matter what's happening around me. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I'm human. I mess it up sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, my experience of Evan is coming from me. My creation of Evan in real time right now is not coming from Evan. It's coming from me. How freeing, how liberating is that?
Yeah.
Like I for me, it's become a really a massive equalizer.
Yeah. For me, it's just everything becomes a little bit more fun and spontaneous.
I
was cutting my grass yesterday and I bent the lawnmower blade somehow. So first of all, I didn't notice that I had done it. So it was bent a little bit.
Right.
And I sheared the grass down to the topsoil, right? A little bit short.
Yeah, it's a little short.
Yeah. And then as I was going, it must have hit something else and it bent so much that now like it doesn't move at all.
Right.
And so like all the stories, all the thoughts that I could have, that started to pop up, like my neighbors, first of all, the lawn's not done, so it's half cut.
Right.
So the lawns, neighbors are going to be like, what's this guy doing?
Right,
yeah. Lawnmower's garbage. I should have bought a better one. I've destroyed whatever grass was already there.
Right. Yeah.
And instead it was like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that I didn't know you could bend the blade of a lawnmower. And now I get to take it to to a guy to fix the lawnmower.
Right.
That'll be fun. I'll see how, see what that guy's workshop's like. I'll meet a new person.
Yeah.
It is a non-issue and a non-problem issue. And I will have a new experience this afternoon after you leave and I go to take the lawnmower. Neat. It's nothing. It is not a problem, literally. So there's something so freeing about that.
The example that gets used fairly often is holding a ball underwater. So a ball's, assuming it's inflated, Its nature is to float.
Yeah.
Okay, so our nature is to float. Our nature is to have thoughts come and go, and it's cool. Yeah, we're just floating along, ready for the next thought to come and go, or what, ball's floating. And then, I think I'm not worthy. Oh, grab the ball. Now what do I do about it? Oh, and I'm holding the ball underwater. And we're trying to solve for this stuff that all we really have to do is let go of it.
Yeah.
The damn ball just floats, it just does its thing, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds absurdly simple.
Well, Michael Neill gives a great example that really resonated with me about the airplane.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking about a pilot on a, I guess a training plane or something. Right. And they're up, it's their first solo flight, and they radio the tower. I'm completely out of control. I don't know what to do. I'm going to crash. And the tower says, let go of everything.
That's right.
And the pilot says, no, you don't understand. You don't understand.
Right.
I'm out of control and I'm going to crash. And the tower says, hey, dummy, your plane is designed to level itself out.
Self-correct. Yeah.
Just let go. Like, you are causing all the problems.
Yeah.
And as soon as you let go, the plane goes, yep.
Yeah. And that's a really good, what the three principles articulated for me is that, I'm the one who's causing the problem.
Right. Yeah.
Right. If I leave it alone,
it'll level out. Yep.
It does. And it does. And we all know this. Yeah. I'm convinced that we all know this and have all had experiences of that. And probably multiple experiences every day. We just don't know what we're looking at.
Yeah.
We don't see the grandness of it. Like, oh shit, you mean if I'm not drilling down on how to make my situation perfect, I get to see that it's already pretty good? If I'm not so concerned about how is this going to work out next week and this thing that I'm doing. If I just kind of put that to the side, it's actually kind of works out.
Yeah.
Like we have... However old you are, your life has been working out, even when it looks like it hasn't been working out.
Yeah.
There's a horrible story that I share sometimes from, whatever. So a mentor of mine, Dr. Jack Pransky, is one of the people that I got some crazy stories, man. You want a crazy story?
Always.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I used to own a gym, and, after a workout session, a group class, Jeff taking pictures and hugging people, and then he died. He went out to his truck to go home, and he died. And this was like 2016, 17-ish, 2016 maybe. And I was with him when he passed. Went from taking pictures with people, happy, smiley, to having being dead, like minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was intense. And so, love you, Jeff. Learned a lot, and shout out to Jack. It was the first time that I really felt my thoughts and the feelings that they were imposing on me. So. After, it was a bit traumatic. Like, I don't like using that word, but the guy died. It was a deal. And I remember thinking, among the thinking was, shit, what are people going to think? Am I going to get sued? Like all of this sort of, this stuff that, call it practical. I don't know how to articulate it. But I felt, I had those thoughts. And they didn't have, it's not that they felt bad. It's that they felt like transparent. They had no substance. Mm-hmm. There was no meaning. There was no substance to them. They were just like, well, that's just ridiculous. And then I had other thoughts that were, about his family and about what had happened and those thoughts were laced with this really, really solid feeling of meaning and compassion and love. And it was sort of the first really, really definitive experience of, oh, this is personal thinking. This is nonsense thinking.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel good. It's meaningless. This over here is coming from somewhere that isn't fucking me. And that was like, so, shout out to Jeff for that lesson, and for Jack, for helping make sense of that. But it was like I could literally, like, as real as we're sitting here, I could feel the difference between those thoughts when I paid attention to them and these thoughts when I allowed them to be, right? It was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So the story with Jack, so he's a psychologist. He's got 2 clients, both women, both get raped. One woman goes on to have a wonderful life. One woman goes on to become a drug addict and a prostitute and, eventually pulls herself out. They both had the same experience. For that split second, life punched them in. I mean, I don't mean to trivialize it, right? They had an experience that was like, holy, this experience happened. Well, why did one end up one way and why did another? Now Jack tells a story. The other woman who, fell into depression and drugs and prostitution comes out of it because she eventually sees that it's her thinking. Mm-hmm. But it's just a good example, a harsh, hard example of, life can punch you in the face really, really badly sometimes. And what occurs after that is up to you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say, right? And I hope I don't offend anyone with that. It comes from a deeply meaningful, like a deeply loving place. Yeah. I would like to think that if something as heinous as that, oh God, here we go. And we've talked about this, but if something like that happened to my daughter, I would like to believe that what I would say is, you're okay, you're fine. Or some version of that. I love you. You're going to be okay. You are okay. Anyway, yeah. So that story from Jack early on, when he was mentoring me in this, and then the experience of Jeff dying was just like, wow, yeah, of course this is how it is.
Yeah.
Right. Cause I felt it. I knew it, like not intellectually.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about the Jeff thing in a while. Suck. Jeff would be laughing at me right now, offering me a scotch. Anyway, you want to take over for a sec while I compose myself?
Yeah. No, I think maybe that's just a good place to leave it. I think the reason I wanted to have this conversation, and thank you for sharing all that. I know it's tough to relive those things. As we keep having these conversations, we keep pointing more and more and getting maybe closer or more refined or something to just the simplicity of what we're talking about today, which is, it's just thought and personal thinking. And I wanted to talk about this because I think that the 3P stuff adds a helpful sort of vocabulary or like a framework.
Yeah, I hope I've done it justice.
I think so. From the book I read, from
Yeah.
my complete lack of understanding about it 2 days ago to my increased understanding yesterday, I think you did. So yeah, maybe just sort of a bit of a reference point going forward. And maybe it won't come up again, maybe it will. I don't know, but it was helpful for me to sort of see things in that framework, and I do enjoy my frameworks. So thanks for going through that and for sharing that. And,
no problem.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next time, but maybe wrap up there.
Yeah. So the book we've been talking about again is The Inside Out Revolution by Michael Neill.
Yep. Highly recommended.
Yeah, it's a good read.
Very short.
It may or may not give you an insight. It will for sure, if you're open to it, give you something to think about.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.